Good morning. If everybody could settle in and take your seats, we'll get this breakfast series lecture going today. First off, we'd like to thank Huntington Bank for, again, this year being an underwriter of our breakfast series. And we're very excited that this is our first breakfast series in our new home. And so hopefully everybody enjoyed the breakfast and enjoys this new venue, and we look forward to having many more. Speaking of which, after this first breakfast, November 12th, we'll have Dick DeVos will be our next breakfast lecture speaker right here, so put that on your calendar. Next Wednesday for the Seidman alum, we have our first social series at Cygnus 27. That starts at 5:30. It's free valet parking, so there's no reason not to be there. We will be talking to Alyssa Hillary from Local First. She's the executive director there, so that should be very good. I'd also like to welcome President Haas to our first breakfast series, too, so thank you very much for squeezing this into the time, and we're really excited that we have that going on. Tim Selgo is going to introduce our speaker today, and Tim's been with Grand Valley, I think, about 18 years. He's done a few wonderful things for Grand Valley on the athletic side. We've had 12 Directors' Cups in the top two at least in that 18 years. We've had 15 President's Cups, pretty amazing things, and I could spend 20 minutes just talking about Tim, but I won't. The one downside of Tim is he comes from Ohio, so we'll still let him come up, but Tim, will you join us and introduce our speaker today?
Oh, I was born and grew up in Ohio, but I've become a Tiger fan. How about them Tigers, huh? Yeah. Jason Verlander a stud or what? He is tremendous. Well, good morning. I guess we're talking about sports business, so they asked the jock to do the introductions here this morning, and I get that opportunity. As Bill said, I'm Director of Athletics here at Grand Valley, and I'm pleased to introduce Mike Guswiler. This has been a big week for Grand Valley, huge week. We dedicated this beautiful William Seidman Center. We unveiled a beautiful statue of Bill Seidman on our Allendale campus next to our Mary Ida Pugh Library yesterday, and it's also Ferris Week. We play football at Ferris on Saturday, and anybody in the audience wearing any shade of red will be charged $25 for their breakfast. President Haas. He's excused. He's my boss. But I'm pleased to introduce Mike Guswiler, talk to you a little bit about the sports tourism industry and what the West Michigan Sports Commission has been able to accomplish since its inception in 2007. I've been very honored and very proud to serve on the executive board of the Sports Commission since its inception in 2007. And it's really been a lot of fun for all of us that have been a part of it to watch the growth and what Mike and his staff have done with the Sports Commission here during that 6+ years that it's been in existence. And Mike's been its first executive director since it was established, and he's been leading all of the operations since that time. And under his leadership, the commission has booked nearly 300 sporting events, has attracted 315,000 athletes and visitors to West Michigan. An example of that would be this coming May, Sports Commission teamed with Laker Athletics to draw the NCAA Division II Track and Field National Championships to West Michigan. Over 700 some athletes and coaches and parents will be descending upon our wonderful region May 22nd through the 24th. We call that a shameless plug in our world to get people. Come on. But during this time, the Sports Commission has generated over $100 million in direct visitor spending, and Mike was recently promoted to president of the West Michigan Sports Commission, overseeing all of its operations, and the signature Meijer disabled children to be able to play baseball. It's fantastic. The construction is going on right now, although we did have the opening ceremonies and the opening pitch of the West Michigan Miracle League of the disabled children playing their first baseball game on its field. And sometime you need to get out there and see it, because it's going to be a jewel of this community when it's done. And there'll be a lot of youth coming in here playing in those sports in the years ahead. Mike's primary responsibility is to champion, of course, the mission of the Sports Commission, which is promoting the region on a statewide, regional, and national scale as a premier venue for hosting youth and amateur sports to enhance the region's economy and quality of life. And so it's my honor, privilege, to introduce the president of the West Michigan Sports Commission, Mike Guswiler.
Thank you, Tim. I think I'm switching on to a lavalier. Is that, you have me? Can you hear me okay? All right. Well, as Tim had pointed out, he's been just an integral member of our organization since we really were organized in 2007. And Tim, along with so many board members, and I'll talk about that as I get into my presentation, have meant so much to what we've been able to do and how we've been able to succeed in our short 6 years. Is that better? No, that's not working. Can you hear me? Is that better? Okay, let's go from there. All right, and I need to mention at this point in time, I'm the first speaker of the Huntington lecture series, and I'm going to use this mic too. So it's important to have two mics. Well, here's the key to that. As the first speaker, I can either be extremely nervous or I've got wonderful excuses as the first speaker. And I know I'm preceding Dick DeVos, so either you're practicing with me or I have the pleasure of preceding Dick DeVos. So we'll continue to work through this. I may have to just go ahead and grab this off and use this. Is that better? Okay. It's truly my pleasure to be here. You know, as Tim had mentioned, we've got a great board, but it takes a great community also. Huntington Bank has been terrific partners in our formation as well as a corporate partner and really helping our operations move along. So I'm excited to be speaking on behalf of the Huntington Breakfast Lecture Series as well. So as you see, I'm going to be talking about the $7 billion business of sports tourism and how West Michigan and our region can gain a larger piece of that youth and amateur sports industry. So moving on or getting into this, you know, whoops. It's really 4 points that I want to cover as we talk through this presentation. It's really to talk about what sports tourism is and define that. Talk about the importance of tourism in the state of Michigan, and then get to really, hopefully I presented the case of why the West Michigan Sports Commission was formed, and then get into, in our formative years, some of our strategic planning and what we've done to set success for the future. Oops. All right. We're getting there. To really kick things off, I think it's important to establish a foundation. We're very fortunate to live in the region that we live in, and with Grand Rapids and the work that's being done in our business landscape, all the happenings along Medical Mile and the research and development and the biopharmaceuticals, also really what's happening around our leadership and the contributions that are being made to really grow and establish our region. I'm going to present a video to you, and it's titled The Art of Collaboration. This video was shown, and maybe some of you have seen it, at a recent Econ Club, but it was made on behalf of the Experience Grand Rapids, CVB, our partners, also Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc., for a recent convention that was in town, CEO for Cities. And CEO for Cities came into Grand Rapids, probably their highest audience level, over 340 CEOs or leaders from various communities around the country to really look at collaboration, sustainability of cities, and take some best practices away from Grand Rapids. So this really gives a great foundation and really talks about the community that we live in and really what's been presented as an opportunity for us to grow from. So we're going to go ahead and play that video. Some pretty powerful stuff in that video, and really, again, lays the foundation of who we are as a community. And Grand Valley State University plays a big part of that. The Seidman College of Business, this new facility, certainly plays a part of that. You saw some of the call-outs, the top 15 emerging cities, the top 10 research and development in biopharmaceuticals, and so many more. Beer City, USA, of course, we all appreciate that. So those are important things to really look at the success that we've had and the collaboration and the partnerships that exist in this community. And it's no different for the formation of the West Michigan Sports Commission. But before getting into that, I'll really talk about sports and the importance of sports and how really it's a fabric of our lives. It's all around us. You know, on this slide, you can see some pictures that I'm sure you can pick out and identify what those pictures are. Just this past year, University of Michigan making it to the Final Four. Some very exciting games going up against Louisville. It was great to see them get that far. But to talk about the numbers behind that and look at the impact that that makes on various communities. The NCAA D1 men's basketball March Madness has 12 different cities that it stops in, on its road to the Final Four. And in those cities and those fans and the economic impact ranges anywhere from $8 million to $70 million for Atlanta that hosted the Final Four. And those are big numbers, and those are numbers that make an impact on communities through sports. Of course, the top middle picture, Augusta National and the Masters. Adam Scott winning that this past year in great fashion. But when you talk about Augusta, Georgia, the city about the same size as Grand Rapids, Michigan, inundated with 40,000 people over the period of these 4 or 5 days over the Masters that are visiting, and probably 14 million viewers across the country and internationally that bring over $100 million into that community around that sporting event. Louisville and Churchill Downs, when you talk about what that race is, it really comes down to 2 minutes and 2 seconds. That's the length of the Kentucky Derby, the 139th running that they had this past year, for 2 minutes and 2 seconds, that a city goes wild for about a week. And the numbers of people that inundate that city and the hundreds of millions of dollars that go into those businesses and those hotels and those restaurants. Of course, then we've got Floyd Mayweather Jr., a product of West Michigan, the NASCAR nation, and what I consider to be a pinnacle of youth and amateur sports, and that is the International Olympics. And of course, we know Chicago made a bid to host in 2016. It was a bid that didn't quite make the grade for various reasons, but Chicago spent $60 million in their effort to bid on the International Olympic Summer Games. And that's pretty significant. And there's other cities across the country, across the world, that are vying for that will spend that amount of money and then also spend much more in infrastructure because of the billions of dollars that returns in visitors coming into the community. So those are some of the numbers behind the sports and how sports really play a huge fabric of our lives. I'm going to dial it down a little bit and really talk more about youth and amateur sports and really the focus on that. We don't expect to be hosting an Olympic Games in our community anytime in the near future. We've made some bids on March Madness and the early rounds, but really our focus is on participatory sports, the sports that bring mom and dad and the kids that play in these various sports into our community and staying in our hotels and spending money in our community, more so than these spectator sports. Ultimately, it's nearly an $8 million industry in youth and amateur sports. And the interesting thing about youth and amateur sports that we've found in the industry, and it's been studied by the National Association of Sports Commissions, is we're coming out of this recession that started in about 2007, about when we formed as well, happenstance, I think. But we're coming out of this, and youth and amateur sports, or sports tourism and sports travel, had not seen the same downturn that leisure sports might see, or business travel as businesses pull in a little bit and not spend as much. What we saw with youth and amateur sports is that as parents and in participatory sports, we want our kids to be able to learn the values that sports bring us. And we want to use our last discretionary dollars to get them out from in front of the TVs and really participate in these great community and competitive events. And so where these other tourism dollars fell off, sports tourism really held steady. And that's an important fact to note in looking at what we can do in our community to grab some of those dollars and benefit from some of these new dollars that would come in. Across the country, we're seeing an increase in the number of sports commissions being formed. And again, I think that plays to the last point that I made. Over 100 sports commissions now. And where there's not a sports commission doing that work, there's a Convention and Visitors Bureau, like our partner in Experience Grand Rapids before we were formed, and really looking at what they can do to try and attract some of that business into their community. There's many different resources on a national basis that we turn to generate some interest in our community, but also learn from and develop new strategies for attracting sports tourism. And the National Association of Sports Commissions is one of those. We're a member of that organization. It formed in 1992 around a handful of cities that just shared ideas and best practices of what they can do as a community and those various communities to bring some of these dollars in. And that's grown from then to about 600 members now that include these CVBs that I talked about, the growth of these sports commissions, but they also include these national governing bodies, or the sports rights holders. And it partners up these two organizations so that they can talk about what works in a community to host these different events, but also just learning from each other and growing as a sports destination. The middle bullet point is, of course, an alphabet soup, and we've got all kinds of organizations that we can go after. United States Olympic Committee being one of those, United States Specialty Sports Association, Michigan High School Athletic Association, NCAA, NAIAAU. And when you think about the mission of the United States Olympic Committee, and I'm going to paraphrase, they really represent the Olympic and Paralympic athletes to sustain a high level of competition and inspire Americans. And I think that's the other benefit that we see from sports. You know, our drive is economic impact and economic benefit to our community, but it adds quality of life as well. And we want to inspire people in our community around sport, and sport has a way of doing that. There's various industry conferences that we'll attend on a national basis throughout the country. NASC holds their own. It's the Sports Symposium. We're working to try and bring that conference to Grand Rapids so that those numbers of people will come and learn best practices, just like CEOs for cities did here, but also the sports governing body, so that they can see what our area has to offer. And many other sports events, USOC Sports Link, they hold that along with their General Assembly and bring their national sports governing bodies together. And as destinations, we're allowed to attend, and I had a couple of staff members that are just coming back from that conference out in Colorado Springs. So some great resources nationally to try and learn best practices and develop those relationships. To be successful as a destination and attract these national sports governing bodies, there's many different criteria that we need to focus on and that we have to be aware of what the needs are. And it really begins, as you can imagine, in having quality venues and the location of those venues. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that and the importance of what we're doing around that in a little bit. Certainly sponsorship potential. I think it's been said that Grand Rapids is the second highest philanthropic community, second to Salt Lake City. And that means a lot. You know, we see it in the support of the events that we bring to the table, the corporate community, the Huntington banks, and so many others that really help bring these events into our community and help make them a success. And that's an important component as tournaments rights holders and organizers are looking to come into our community. You know, certainly you need to have the infrastructure, the hotel rooms, the restaurants in close proximity to your competition venue. Local media coverage, all of these sports are trying to grow in their own right, and they want to get some exposure and really gain in awareness on their own in terms of what they're doing. Ease of access to the city. Fortunately, we've seen with the Gerald R. Ford International Airport some growth in air travel and airlines and carriers. Southwest coming in is a huge benefit to our area. And so ease of access, whether it's by air or by car, certainly is something I think that we can promote highly as Grand Rapids and West Michigan. And then there's the volunteer needs, and as I mentioned, the restaurants and things to do. So those are all key components when we're looking to bid on an event that we have to keep in mind and to put into a package and talk about in attracting these various athletic events into our community. I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk about tourism in the state of Michigan. And I think many of you, if not all of you, are familiar with what Travel Michigan and the MEDC have done in the past 4 or 5 years with the Pure Michigan campaign. And this is a campaign that has truly grown in our ability as a state to attract tourism into Michigan. People across the country, as we go out, are aware of the Pure Michigan campaign. And this is a breakdown of the ability for Travel Michigan through the governor and legislature and the dollars that they've been able to secure in promoting our state as a tourism destination in what they use those dollars towards. And you know, the bulk of it goes into a national cable buy, $13 million. And it's a big piece that really creates the awareness that we need as we go out as a destination marketing organization to say, hey, you know, come to Michigan. Here's what we have to offer. And this campaign kind of paves the way for us. The budget, as compared to other states, you can expect some of those other states to be up there, Hawaii, California, but certainly you see Michigan at number 6 with that $25 million. They used to be at about $5 million, and that extra $20 million has had a huge impact. It's risen Michigan to the top of the echelon in terms of what we can do to attract these new dollars into our state. where the average state tourism budget is about $14.5 million. These are some of the stations that if you frequent on the cable network, that you may have seen the Pure Michigan commercials, and really what those commercials have done through Tim Allen's voice and the pace of the commercial and the marketing campaign, really attracting people to what Michigan has to offer. And this has been the impact over 2012 numbers of what the cable buys and the awareness factor. As expected in the regional market, a far greater awareness, but on the national market, that's not a small number when you talk about Michigan and the place of destinations and places to go. We're not a Hawaii, we're not a California or a Florida, but people are seeing the opportunity that exists and the natural resources that we have through this marketing campaign. So Michigan.org, as a website, we all have gotten into the technology of the world, and our websites communicate much of our messaging, has risen to the top. In fact, for the past 6 years, they have been the leading destination or tourism website. You see some of the second place and third place, as you might expect. I'm not sure what Arkansas is doing. I can't say I've ever driven through it. Sorry if anyone's a Razorback fan. But that's impressive, and that's important to measure and look at in terms of awareness as well. And here are some of the results. Again, 2012 numbers. That has motivated 3.8 million trips. 2.3 million is, again, you could expect from the immediate Midwest region, but then 1.5 million from outside the region. And the dollars that those visitors are spending in Michigan. And what they're spending in sales tax, the jobs that it supports. The tourism industry is a huge industry in Michigan, and the jobs that are created and sustained through these new visitors coming into our communities is important. And then you see the return on investment. It's not a bad return when you talk about $5.76 return for every dollar that's spent in that $25 million budget. We do a lot of measurement in this industry on hotel occupancy, on heads and beds. So certainly that's an important number to look at. And here you see the impact of the Pure Michigan campaign as it has on hotel occupancy. The RevPAR numbers are numbers that hotels use to measure their success and profitability. But it's a great measurement, and in fact, in Grand Rapids and through our partners in Experience Grand Rapids that measure these numbers, we're seeing better than 60% occupancy, and we're leading both the state and the nation in terms of our occupancy percentage rate. So that's a great testament on behalf of the work that we're doing and the work of our partners in Experience Grand Rapids. We're seeing Pure Michigan get involved into sports. I mentioned NASCAR Nation and the millions of people that follow these cars that only make a left turn for 3 hours. And it's pretty interesting. But the Michigan International Speedway in Jackson, Michigan, has become the Pure Michigan 400. And it's just brand placement. It's getting eyeballs to see that brand and carry that brand through. And I'm able to keep this slide in because I stayed up late and saw that the Tigers won, as Tim alluded to. But also the brand placement at Comerica Park and what they've used in placing that in key positions right behind the home plate, on the Tigers dugout. Those are great brand placements to keep that message in front of people. So what we've done in the youth and amateur sports tourism industry as a West Michigan Sports Commission and other destinations throughout Michigan is we formed a marketing collaborative. There's now 10 cities, and I know there's other cities that are looking to join, that we partner together, we pool our marketing dollars, and MEDC and Travel Michigan have come to the table to match those dollars, and we're carrying on that brand, that Pure Michigan brand that has done so well, to coin it Pure Michigan Sports, and to go outside of the state and market our state as a viable destination for youth and amateur sports. And we do that through the various national industry trade shows and the different sales calls that we make together. And you can see some of those cities that are involved. So let me talk about the West Michigan Sports Commission. Again, hopefully I've made the case for our formation, why it's important to capture some of those dollars, or many of those dollars that come into the state, and trying to attract more of those new dollars into the state. As Tim had mentioned, we formed in 2007. It was through a public-private partnership led by Peter Secchia, a well-known business leader in the community and former ambassador to Italy. Our partners in Experience Grand Rapids, Kent County, and is really looking at that measurement of the hotel occupancy, because that's tied to a hotel room tax and a lodging excise tax, that as you stay in a hotel in Kent County, if you only stay there and pay the room rate, and the room rate's $100, you're leaving with a bill of, I believe it's $115. So there's a 6% state sales tax that of course goes to the state. And then there is, maybe it's $114. Then there's 8%, where 4% of that is a hotel assessment, and it is 115, because 5% of that, I'm doing quick math up here, 5% of that is a Kent County lodging excise tax. So these are dollars that are going into those coffers to, again, build upon our infrastructure that we can offer this tourism industry, but also market our destination for tourism and sports tourism as well. We've got a board of 57 currently, 15 key board members. The rest are at-large advisory council members, and that's important. We've got people that are really driving the policies and procedures and the strategies of the Sports Commission, and then we have other people who have really embraced who we are as an organization and gone out in the community and spread our word. And in fact, I know I've got a lot of board members here and advisory council members here today, and if they would stand up just briefly, as well as our staff, and you can recognize them for the work that they do. We have a wonderful internship program that started really since our inception. You can find information on it on our website, but we've been able to tap into all the universities in the area and even outside of the area and give a great opportunity and experience for these students to really see what this tourism industry is all about, and also benefit from some great experience and contribute to some exciting events. The mission of the Sports Commission, I won't read to you, but I highlighted some of the key words. We work as a destination marketing organization to promote this destination. And our effort is to try and host many of these youth and amateur sports tournaments. And I hit on some of those keys. It's really about economic impact. We want to enhance our economy through visitor spending, and we want to add to our quality of life. Some key directives that have come out, like any organization does in our formative years, through some strategic planning, are listed here. And these have kind of risen to the surface and driven who we are and what we do as an organization. The top two, as you can imagine, I've been repeating. I'll get that. Is economic development, and then adding to our quality of life. And while those can be tough to measure in terms of adding to the quality of life, certainly we have measurements in economic development, and I'll touch on that. But we wanted to be the go-to organization for the various youth and amateur sports clubs and organizations that exist throughout the area, but also for people that were just aware and passionate about a sport tournament that wanted to see it come to Grand Rapids. We wanted to be that go-to source, and we've been doing that over the course of the past 6 years. And then we wanted to create our own event, something that answered our mission and our call, and Tim touched on it in the Meijer State Games in Michigan, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. And then leading the discussion and building our sport infrastructure. Did I jump too far ahead? So what have we done to date? We're now in our 7th year of operation. We've worked with, assisted, or brought in more than 300 sporting events and tournaments. And with those numbers and those events, we've attracted over 315,000 athlete and spectator visitors. And we've generated nearly $100 million in direct visitor spending from those visitors that have come through our community. This next slide shows some of those events that we've been involved in. One of our first events is the National Golden Gloves Tournament of Champions that was held at DeVos Place. Floyd Mayweather Jr. contributed and underwrote that event, being a Golden Glove champion himself and really giving back to his community. But NCAA D1 ice hockey that we've held at Van Andel Arena. The Transplant Games of America, very special event that we resurrected as a community, and I think that's important to note. And going back to collaboration and the work that our community does to partner together, the Transplant Games represent the importance of organ donation and continuing that gift of life. And we were able to resurrect that when the National Kidney Foundation decided that they were no longer going to put that on after a couple of decades. And we formed together in our medical community. It was led by Spectrum Health, assisted by St. Mary's Health as well, and in a local organizing committee that was committed to putting this event on. And it was a special event held at Grand Valley State University over the course of a week, and it really meant the world to these individuals that had a second chance at life, but also to these donor families that lost a loved one, but they donated their organs. And Bill Ryan, who's a board member of ours, is the president and CEO of Transplant Games of America now, and Bill continues to carry that torch as a donor dad, but also in really carrying the message of the importance of organ donation and ensuring that that everyone get registered in many different states. So it's a wonderful event that we're able to carry on that really applied to our mission, but extended that much more. And then some additional USOC sports governing bodies and figure skating, judo, table tennis. I didn't see Del Swears, but if you know Del, he was going to be here this morning, but Del is a table tennis champion. He and his wife, he's the husband of Connie Swears. They're both inducted in the Grand Rapids Sports Hall of Fame, but also the National Table Tennis Hall of Fame. And their son, just this week, Todd Swears, who's a two-time Olympian, was inducted into the Grand Rapids Sports Hall of Fame. So those are the type of people we need in our community as we go after these events to tap into their knowledge and their expertise to help us bring these in. This bar chart shows really our growth over a period of 3 years in events, economic impact, and as well in visitors that we're able to bring into the community. And so we've seen great growth in all that we're able to do. And again, I contribute that to our excellent team and staff and to our board and to our community that we're able to grow in such a fast pace. I'm just going to walk through quickly a measurement of visitor spending and how we look at economic impact as another measurement beyond just hotel rooms. In looking at a key event that occurs every weekend, first weekend in June, is the Michigan Junior Volleyball State Championships. They're up to more than 450 teams, and when you think about those teams and the makeup of those teams, most of them are middle school or high school girls, so they travel with their families. They stay a couple of nights. If we assume the room rate and the amount that they might spend on 3 meals a day for the family, and you add that up, it comes up to about $463 for the family. You multiply that by the number of families per team, which is 10 to 12 girls per team. And then we want to take out the locals, because local spending are dollars that could elsewhere be spent in our community. And so we want to factor that in. We really want to only look at new dollars or visitor dollars into our community. And so, multiplying 2,800 families by that average spending, this is $1.3 million over the period of a weekend into our community of new dollars that without this tournament wouldn't have been spent here. This is a brief video that we made a couple of years ago, but it really gives a good visual of some of the events that we've been able to attract. So I'm going to go ahead and have that played for you. So some great growth. We continue to grow and obviously have to update our video. Here's some major events that we have coming in 2014. I think these are noteworthy. Tim certainly hit on one of them, but starting with that first event, the Western Collegiate Hockey Association. We're a town of great hockey, of course, the Calder Cup champions. If you were in the Van Andel Arena during any of those final games, it was electric, and that's the experience and the atmosphere that sports can generate in a community. Well, the shakedown of the hockey conferences with CCHA going away changed the landscape somewhat of the Western Collegiate Hockey Association. They really were looking for a home on even years or odd years between St. Paul, Minnesota and Grand Rapids, Michigan. They really wanted to come here. They felt this was a strong community. And the makeup of the Western Collegiate Hockey Association includes 4 Michigan schools in Ferris. Sorry, Tim. But President Haas, maybe we can get Grand Valley into this conference. But Ferris, Lake Superior State, Northern Michigan, and Michigan Tech. And we felt really good about that, about hosting the Final Five with those Michigan schools and the impact that could have. And we really want to look to make that a long-standing tradition of collegiate hockey in Grand Rapids at Van Andel Arena. Tim mentioned the NCAA D2 Track and Field Championships. The partnership that we have with Grand Valley State University is terrific. The fortunate ability to have such a great institution, a great athletic program in our community is extremely helpful as we go and work on attracting so many of these different events. But I know Tim's athletic team is here. They've been great partners and great to work with. And we're excited for what the D2 Track and Field Championships will bring both to Grand Valley and to our community. USA Triathlon Long Course Championships. We've worked with our Tries for Health partners and the Grand Rapids Triathlon. USA Table Tennis, the US Open is coming back for a 3rd time. And it's interesting as you look at that event, when we first bid on that, we were pulling it out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, the reason that they were in Las Vegas is it was easy to get to internationally. This draws competitors from 22 different countries. But in Las Vegas, as you can imagine, they're not known, they're not seen. They're lost in all the lights and flash. So we really sold them on leaving a legacy of table tennis in our community and really the history of table tennis through the Swearses. So we're able to secure that, and we've had great success to the point where one of their international competitors, and the sport of table tennis is really growing in the U.S., but in other countries, China, as you can imagine, even Europe, this is a major sport. This is an Olympic sport. It's a top sport in many of these countries, and we were able to really attract these key players and these top national players and international players. And Georgina Pota, the women's champion, was quoted as saying that of all the places she's traveled, and she's traveled across the world, that this was the most beautiful. And that's a huge testament to Grand Rapids and what we're able to do as an organization, as a community. And then, of course, U.S. Rowing, the National Masters Championship. First time that we'll have a national rowing event in our community on the Grand River and using the Riverside Park. The Meijer State Games in Michigan, Tim had touched on. This is our signature event. It's an event that, because of the expertise of staff members and the knowledge base that they brought to the table, that we were able to put together. And also because of our corporate community partners, certainly in Meijer and many other corporate partners. And it is a form of Olympics for our community. It's an Olympic-style sports festival, open to all ages and all abilities. And in fact, we've had ages of 4 to 84 participate. And there's 30 other states that run these type of state games and sports festivals. And it really gets people active in their communities. It gets them out and gets them participating in some healthy environment. The Meijer State Games was in its 4th year. It just concluded the 4th Summer Games. It attracted over 6,000 athletes from 72 different counties of Michigan's 83 counties, so hitting nearly 90% of the state in participation, making it truly a statewide event. and embraced across the state. 24 regional sporting venues and over 500 volunteers, hitting that key for volunteers, and we can always use more volunteers for the many different events that we have. But about $2 million in direct visitor spending over that 3 or 4 days that we host these athletes in our community. Here you see a slide, a little difficult to read, but about 35 different sporting events that were offered this past summer. Really gives a wide breadth of people to really participate in a lot of different events, and you don't have to be an expert. It's not about being an elite athlete. It's about participating in something special and something exciting, and it's really that opening ceremonies and that Olympic feel that brings all these athletes and families together. Here you see some pictures from our opening ceremonies a couple years ago at Fifth Third Ballpark, the parade of athletes, the lighting of the torch by Glenn Myers, an Olympic archer. It's lit by a couple of special guests that we had that year, Coach Mark D'Antonio and Coach Tom Izzo. And then the shooting of that flame to light our cauldron and really kick off the festivities and their ceremonies as these athletes went out and competed for gold, silver, bronze medals, and just for the spirit of competitiveness around these different venues across the county and the region. So with the growth of the Meijer State Games, and we're going to be making an announcement, our executive director of the Meijer State Games, Eric Engelbarts, will be making an announcement next Tuesday on adding some winter games. It'll be the first year of the winter games this coming February. We'll talk about the dates and the sports lineup, but I've got a quick preview of a video to show you on what is in store.
Hi, I'm Mike Knuble and I'm from Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm an NHL veteran of more than 15 seasons, and one of my proudest moments was playing for the United States in the 2006 Winter Olympics in Torino, Italy. I'm here to encourage players of all ages and abilities to sign up and play in the Meijer Winter State Games in February 2014. For more details and information, please go to stategamesofmichigan.com.
So look for some exciting info to be unveiled next week as we hold a press conference and talk more about the exciting winter games. I'm going to switch gears again and talk about the future of the Sports Commission, the future of our region and Grand Rapids, and talking about building up our sport infrastructure. And I'm going to try and get through this fairly quickly so I can leave some time for Q&A. But this is a very exciting time in our history and in our development as a Sports Commission and as a community in talking about really building up the sports facilities and creating a place and a destination for sports. The Grand Rapids Whitewater Project, while it's not a project that we're leading, is a project that we certainly embrace and that we're backing and supporting in restoring the rapids to the Grand River. It means far more than just sporting events. It means business and tourism and development along the riverside. And so if you want more information, certainly the Grand Rapids Whitewater Group and their website can offer that at grandrapidswhitewater.org. I mentioned the U.S. Rowing and the first national Masters Championship, first national event that will have U.S. Rowing on the Grand River. We're working in partnership with the Grand Rapids Rowing Association that runs a great Learn to Row program. But it's really building up our sport infrastructure, building up our river so that it can be a national caliber rowing institution. And we're working with them and the community to do just that. West Michigan Rugby has been a group since we formed that we've been working with and promoting the growth of that sport in our community, and they continue to look at building and creating a championship atmosphere for rugby as that sport grows. But the campaign that we really got involved in, and a couple of our key board members, Dan DeVos and Don Lubbers, that they have led, is the Everyone Wins campaign. We realized early on the importance of outdoor field sports and what it can mean to our community, and we lacked some contiguous tournament quality fields. And our board really took it to heart to make a change in that direction and create a baseball softball complex that was unparalleled in our region and in our state, certainly. And so we went about creating a campaign to raise the dollars to create that premier complex. But what happened out of that throughout that campaign, and we were able to raise to an $8 million project, $7 million, and construction costs were able to come down. So we're about $500,000 away from really closing that gap. Is we had an individual locally come to the table whose son had some physical disabilities and yet played on a baseball team that he coached. And he saw the opportunities kind of lessening for his son, who used a walker, to be able to get around and participate in the sport of baseball. And he did some discovering and some research and found that a Miracle Field program existed out there. And he approached our board to say, hey, can that be a part of your complex so that we can make it inclusive, make it available for these disabled players to really play in an able-bodied environment. And so we embraced the Miracle Field, and that's now part of the complex. In fact, has already opened, and they've held 3 weekends of games. This coming Saturday, tomorrow, will be their last weekend. They look for the community to get involved as well. But also archery came to the table, and we worked with partners in Plainfield Township and property that surrounded the 79 acres that we found in northern Kent County to build a baseball softball complex. And the West Michigan Archery Center is being built in that complex area. Mountain Bike and that organization, the West Michigan Mountain Bike Alliance, a couple of years ago unveiled a plan to build 50 new miles of trails in our community over the next 5 years. Well, I think they've either surpassed or close to surpassing that number, and because of their efforts and their passion for the sport. BMX and the opportunity to bring USA BMX quality tracks into our area has been led by West Michigan BMX, and so we're going to see BMX part of this complex. And then soccer through Plainfield Township. So, ultimately what's happened is this master plan, and I know this is difficult to see, but we've got our 79 acres where we're building in a couple of phases a baseball softball complex with a championship field, a miracle field, and then other quads here to really attract that travel baseball and softball and those new dollars that will come into our community. We've got mountain bike trails that are already established and supported by Wolverine Worldwide and named the Merrill Trails. And then we've got the archery up here in this corner and BMX and a couple of soccer fields. That's going on right now, and I'll show you kind of some schematics and artist renderings, but also get into really the construction. We tapped into the GVSU Economic Department to run some studies and identify the feasibility of the economic impact of this facility. And through different feasibility studies, there was some conservative numbers that were utilized and some maybe maximum numbers. But over a 5-year total, more than 12 million, upwards of $25 million that will be brought into our community because of the tournaments that we're able to bring in. And that was just specific to baseball and softball. This is in northern Kent County, as I mentioned, off of 131. You can see in the center of the page the closed landfill. Our property is just to the east of that. There's a Meijer right off of 131. That's at the 10-mile exit. And then Rockford would be to the further east. We had to move nearly 500,000 cubic yards of earth to flatten that and get to a point where we could build baseball and softball fields on that. But we were able to do it with our partners in OAK and Progressive AE. And here's some additional photos that show in leading up to today, we're greater than 50% of completion with the light poles going in. adding the final touches to a championship field and a canopy structure that will accommodate 1,000 spectators and bleacher seating and more along the grass areas, the additional quads, and then, of course, the Miracle Field that I mentioned. I encourage you to get out, check that out. It's up on 10 Mile Road. Certainly the Miracle Field, but also what we have going on. It's exciting to be building this community asset that will attract these new dollars into our community and continue to build up our infrastructure, but also the visitors and the sense of place and placemaking that we're doing around sports tourism. So really in closing, ultimately we want to become Sports City USA. You know, we've received the moniker Beer City USA, and we're not far from it. And the efforts of the West Michigan Sports Commission, the efforts that we have our board and our community doing around youth and amateur sports tourism, and we hope that you all become more engaged or excited about what we're doing. And you know, if you are engaged and want to get more involved, there's many ways to do that. And with that, I appreciate the opportunity to speak here at the Huntington Breakfast Lecture Series, and appreciate our hosts in Grand Valley State University, and for all of you for coming. I'm certainly happy to answer any questions if we have some time for that, but thank you again. Question back here.
These types of places open in Grand Rapids, how do you continue to collaborate with these other regional suppliers of sports and continue to be competing with them? I mean, there's a similar facility in Battle Creek, like a baseball. How will you balance that cooperation and competition?
So the question was, you know, in building this facility, you know, how do we collaborate with other communities that have like facilities? How is it a competitive atmosphere as well? And I touched on, of course, the work that we're doing around pure Michigan sports, and as we go outside of the state to try and attract and promote our destination as a state. But when it comes to in-state, it's really all gloves are off. And there's no question that we look at Battle Creek and Bailey Park as competition. I think there's no question that with the quality facility we're building that we will pull some business from them. And I think that's, you know, that when it comes down to that, and although we're named the West Michigan Sports Commission, really our geographical boundaries extend Holland, Grand Haven, Muskegon, and Greater Grand Rapids. And so that's what we're focused on in bringing visitor dollars and attracting these tournaments into. So it does become a competitive atmosphere. I think in the growth of youth baseball and softball, and that's been shown that it's staying in the top 5 of travel sports, that is something that you know, there's still enough interest and teams that want to play in quality tournaments that both will fare well. Unfortunately, I went on so long, I don't have time for any other questions, but my contact information is up here. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have other questions or if you're interested in more information.
All right. Just stay right here, Mike. Thank you. I, too, want to thank Huntington Bank and our Alumni Association and others here at the university for providing these opportunities for our community, for our faculty, staff, and students as well. These are very contemporary opportunities, and I also wanted to say that, yes, it is about the quality of life that we have here in West Michigan. And Mike and the Commission are providing a catalyst for that to happen right here. And I think that one of the opportunities I see here is for activities that are family-friendly. And indeed, most of what you had pointed out here deal with quality of life, but also have that sentiment that we have a quality of life because we can attract our families here, not just for work, but also for learning and for living and for playing. So with that, I would like to, again, congratulate Mike and the Commission. Please recognize them one more time. And on behalf of Grand Valley State University, just a memento of this day. And thank you for kicking off this first event in our new Seidman Center. It would be great. Thank you, sir. Everyone have a great weekend. Thank you.